Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Congresswoman Bardolio. Secretary Gates, are you at liberty or do you know what it's going to cost us or what it has cost us to date, our actions in Libya?
Yes, through last Monday it was about $550 million, and going forward in the reduced role that we will be playing, we estimate the cost will be around $40 million a month.
You also mentioned the cost of Japan and I think it was 19 ships that we have deployed and about 18,000 of our service personnel in the relief efforts, and that it also had to come out of a budget. Do you know how much that's costing us?
No.
Do you know if it's around the 500 some odd million?
No, it's significantly less than
that. You also mentioned that you believe that the amounts would be covered out of the OCO budget. Is that correct?
No, I said that was my opinion, that this is a matter still under discussion with the White House and OMB.
But it is going to be coming out of somewhere in the defense budget?
That is, I would expect that to be the case.
And if there's no supplemental, just assume that, it would still come somewhere out of the defense budget that we're dealing with today, correct?
Probably.
And we've heard...
But if there's no OCO, we're also in big trouble in Afghanistan and Iraq.
And we also know that time and time again, members of the Department of Defense have come forward and said the CR is just preventing you from making any kind of long-term determination or planning. So I'm now very curious about if it comes out of OCO, if the OCO goes through the way it is now, would you be able to cover these costs?
I think so, yes.
So, Secretary Gates, that causes somewhat of a problem in the sense that if we are cutting the budget or if the CRs have cut the budget as much as it can, I'm curious as to how you are going to now be able to accommodate a cost of $550 million and $40 million a month plus whatever Japan may be costing us out of that OCO budget that is supposed to already be cut pretty close to the bone. So how are you going to do that?
Because there's several $billion in there that was moved around principally by the Congress that we think we can recover, would cover these costs.
And when you say it was moved around by the Congress, are you saying that it's still within the budget itself and
yes.
you're just...
But things that we don't need or want.
Do you realize that as we're all looking for money, that to say that there's a couple of $1 billion out there that you don't need or want that the Congress is doing, it kind of leaves us to wonder, okay, where are they, so that if we have to cut, what are we going to cut?
I think the Congress has already done that with the OCO.
Well, I realize that, but you're saying there's several $1 billion that you're still going to be able to cut, and you're going to be, well, it's not what you want, and that's how you're going to fund it.
No, I'm saying that we could substitute these costs for other costs that are in the OCO.
And what are those costs, Secretary?
Well, I'd have to get that for you for the record.
I really would appreciate that because I would like to know what that is. You also said, and we've heard this constantly, that there will be no boots on the ground in terms of Libya. That's correct, right? Now, can you also tell me, at this present time, do our, quote, allies or the NATO forces or Operation, what's the new name now? It's anyway, Unified Protector. Are there any boots on the ground at this time in Libya?
Not that I'm aware of.
So we're saying we're not going to put any boots on the ground, but neither have our allies.
That's my understanding. And to tell you the truth, the opposition has said they don't want any.
So is there any attempt, or do you know if there's any time in the future that there are going to be boots on the ground in Libya?
Not as long as I'm in this job.
I know that's on our side, but do you know if the Allied or...
on the Allies, I have no idea.
There's been no discussion as to when they would put boots on the ground? No?
I don't think so.
And under what conditions? So it could be that, though we're saying there's no boots on the ground, no one has any intention of putting boots on the ground, that it could just continue with this airstrike.
Well, as I indicated, the rebels themselves have said they don't want any.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Klein.